Article 17 has to do with arbitration or arbitrating contractual, specific, and non-contractual disputes with other realtors and with clients. And John, this is one of those items that sets real estate and the real estate industry, and particularly realtors, apart from other businesses, other professions, other industries, where since the beginning of time almost, 1913, since the code was first instituted, or shortly thereafter, realtors, rather than litigate, have agreed with one another that they would arbitrate, and they would solve their differences in arbitration rather than litigation.
That's correct. And the key was always to arbitrate contractual disputes between realtors. And under Article 17, though, they have now added non-contractual disputes, and we'll be talking about those. Because in the event of contractual disputes or specific non-contractual disputes as defined in Standard of Practice 17-4 between realtors associated with different firms arising out of their relationship as realtors, the realtors shall submit the dispute to arbitration in accordance with the regulations of their board or boards rather than litigate the matter. All right? Now, we're going to look at what are some of the events under Article 17 in which this is covered. The obligation to participate in arbitration contemplated by this article includes the obligation of realtors, principals, to cause their firms to arbitrate and be bound by any award. So if in a firm you're having some of the agents who are in dispute, it is the firm who is actually going to have to come in to the arbitration action, because the arbitration is going to be between firms, what they call principals in the transaction.
Standard of Practice 17-1. The filing of litigation and refusal to withdraw from it by realtors in an arbitrable matter constitutes a refusal to arbitrate.
The realtor has agreed not to litigate, has agreed to arbitrate at the board level. So when they decide to ignore that
and
litigate, that in and of itself is going to be a violation.
So when they decide they're going to litigate, they now are in violation of this particular article by virtue, that's Article 17, by virtue of, or further explained by Standard of Practice 17-1.
They may be able to pursue that litigation as far as the courts are concerned, but the consequence is going to be disciplinary action under this particular standard of practice.
Standard of Practice 17-2, Article 17 does not require realtors to arbitrate in those circumstances when all parties to the dispute advise the board in writing that they choose not to arbitrate before the board. You can agree not to arbitrate.
You can agree not to arbitrate. It might be a business decision that both firms make, that they feel that it would be better in court to litigate. For example, in court, there are rules of evidence, there's rules of discovery, and both sides might feel better there than in the arbitration proceedings themselves, where there's more flexibility and less stringent rules, especially with rules of evidence.
Standard of Practice 17-3, realtors, when acting solely as principals in a real estate transaction, are not obligated to arbitrate disputes with other realtors absent a specific written agreement to the contrary. So now, John, I'm acting as a principal in a real estate transaction. You, a little case study, you bring in an offer on my property that I own where I'm the principal. Now do we have to, if we have a dispute, do we have to arbitrate?
No, if one side decides not to arbitrate, that they want to litigate, then that would be perfectly proper.